Listen, don't get me wrong, I was just as impressed as anybody else watching Jaxson Dart light up that starting Bills defense in the preseason. Granted, it was preseason, but he seems to be ahead of schedule as far as being a future franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. His success is now sparking a huge debate around the NFL regarding the New York Giants, and that is, should Jaxson Dart start day one now? What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. Before we start, make sure you guys are clicking that like button. It helps me out more than you guys can imagine. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Consider joining the membership. We're going to be having a lot of film in the next coming of weeks on the membership channel, on the membership side of the channel, because the NFL, again, just keeps taking down my breakdowns. Also, social media is right here, so you guys are reminded. So I'm going to put that there now, so you guys are constantly reminded. Follow me on all social media. We're going to be active on all 4 of these sites. Alright, so I've seen a bunch of controversy around Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Wherever you talk New York Giants, you're going to find Jaxson Dart talk about he should start now because he played well against the Buffalo Bills in the preseason, this, that, and the third. And I have a perfect example to go over. We're going to go over a video of Colin Cowherd in a second because he's just confidently stupid sometimes. I do like Colin Cowherd, but he says the most dumbest thing, like the dumbest takes, and they're so simplistic where it's just like, it still doesn't make any sense. I'll quickly give my take on it. Listen, Jaxson Dart, I think, is ahead of schedule, as I mentioned in the intro. But the Giants already have the pieces in place to have him sit and not just throw him to the wolves automatically. That's really how you stunt the growth of a quarterback. Even if that quarterback is like supposed to be good, they just need a little bit more time sometimes. And I think that's Jaxson Dart. Everyone understood Jaxson Dart was not a guy that you're just going to throw out there day one. But it always happens in every draft with every first round fringe quarterback. They get drafted, and they want to see him start day one. You can go down the list. The Giants already had the pieces in place. They signed Russell Wilson. They signed Jameis Winston before they signed Russell Wilson. So they made sure they had enough depth in that quarterback room to not force Jaxson Dart on the field. That tells me they have no plans to start him unless things go really wrong, which it might. But they don't have the plan to. If things go according to plan and they are successful, because that's their plan, obviously, if they are successful in the season, you will not see Jaxson Dart. That's just the reality of it. So let's hear Colin Cowherd yap about how Jaxson Dart should start.
But we know what Russell is at this point. Like, we know what it is. We don't know what Jaxson Dart is. And so, and I don't want to hear this. Well, I mean, you don't want to put him out there to be a piñata. Stop. The Giants have a great left tackle, and I think their O-line over the last 2 years, they've upgraded it. Number 2, they have a couple of really interesting young running backs. Number 3 is they have a number 1 receiver.
Wow. They have good, interesting running backs. They have a number 1 receiver. They have a offensive line that won't get him killed. What is your point? You proved that you had great observation skills, Colin. Congratulations. How does that affect anything?
Number 4 is, this isn't like the tone-deaf offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brian Daboll got Daniel Jones to the playoffs. Okay, I don't want to hear if you like Brian Daboll. He got Daniel Jones to the playoffs. Okay, he can coach. So we got an offensive coach, a great left tackle, a number 1 weapon. Running backs are interesting. O-line is not a disaster. He's not going to take a beating. Plus, the kid can move. And here's the other thing. He got 41 college starts with Lane Kiffin in the best defensive conference in college football, the one Jaden Daniels came from.
I thought this was the most terrible point that he brought up. Listen, this is not an anti-Jaxson Dart video. I am really excited and impressed by Jaxson Dart. I'm really getting into him being the future quarterback for the New York Giants, but that does not mean I want to throw him out there on day one to just see what we have in him when we already have pieces in place to make sure he develops correctly. Teams usually start their quarterbacks day one, right out the gate, fresh out the box, when they don't have another option to. The Giants have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. You could argue maybe Jaxson Dart is QB2 over Jameis Winston. I just don't think about that when it comes to Russ. And then this point of, hey, he played 41 college starts in the SEC with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is such a great coach. Name quarterbacks that came from Lane Kiffin's offense that were in the NFL. I mean, he was at FAU in 2017 to 2019, right? He was at Ole Miss from 2020 to now. The only quarterbacks he had between then and the SEC and at Ole Miss was Matt Corral and Jaxson Dart. It's not like this guy has a great track record of sending quarterbacks into the NFL and they're ultimately successful. Like, this whole 41 college starts thing means nothing. There are plenty of SEC quarterbacks that have success in the league, success in college against the best defenses, SEC defenses, that don't have success in the NFL. I am not saying that's Jaxson Dart, but that is just a terrible point to bring up. I mean, that was like his second point to bring up. One was the roster of the offense, and two was he had 41 college starts with Lane Kiffin in Ole Miss. I mean, there are plenty of quarterbacks in the SEC that have success in the SEC. They're going to be garbage in the NFL. That's just a bad point. Matt Corral had 37 starts at Ole Miss, and 23 of them were with Lane Kiffin. Where is he now? In the freaking UFL. And mind you, Matt Corral had a lot of success at Ole Miss. Let's make that clear.
And Lane Kiffin has coached in the NFL and could absolutely be a head coach in the NFL again if he wanted to. Lane is a really good offensive coach.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
So now he goes on a tangent about Lane Kiffin and he could be in the NFL. I thought this was about Jaxson Dart. Now he's going off on tangents about how great Lane Kiffin is and how he could be a coach in the NFL. What?
I am so confused right now.
If you get 41 starts in the best defensive conference with NFL receivers and you play with NFL guys and against NFL guys, you're ready to play in college. This is not Anthony Richardson, who we don't even know if, I mean, he wasn't even a great college quarterback. Jaxson Dart was a very good college quarterback. I thought a second-round guy, top third, middle second, but whatever.
There it is. There it is. There it is. I don't understand these talking heads. You got Colin Cowherd now, and then you had Chase Daniel a couple of months ago, where it's like before in the draft, it's Jaxson Dart's not ready to start. I hope the Giants aren't going to start Jaxson Dart, and Russell Wilson is quarterback one right now. All of a sudden, he gets drafted. And camp starts, and Jaxson Dart needs to start. We did a whole video on Chase Daniel. You guys can check that out. He contradicted. He was arguing against himself from prior takes. My point is, if you felt like Jaxson Dart was a second-round quarterback, a lot of times we feel like second-round quarterbacks are not fully developed to start day one. They have the potential to be I don't know about franchise quarterback. They have a potential to be a good quarterback, maybe a franchise quarterback, but they need some time. So if you thought he was a second-round quarterback then, not worthy of being called a first-round quarterback, you thought he was a second-rounder, what changed to make you say he's a second-round quarterback to now he needs to start day one over Russell Wilson? Was it the one preseason game that we saw from Jaxson Dart? The half that he played against the Buffalo Bills in the preseason? You guys said I was drinking the Kool-Aid on Jaxson Dart. I saw those comments. I am not afraid of admitting when I'm wrong. Trust me, if Jaxson, and I want to be wrong about Jaxson Dart. I didn't like Jaxson Dart coming out the draft. I wasn't in love with him.
Jaxson.
I liked him. Wasn't in love with him. I had a second round grade on him. That was my point. I am being consistent with my takes on Jaxson Dart because I need to see more out of Jaxson Dart. He had a good first half versus the Buffalo Bills. I am impressed. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I have to see more if I want to say Jaxson Dart needs to get on his way to starting in the NFL. I thought he was a second round pick. I thought he's a guy that needs to develop in the league before he can actually get on to starting, and I'm consistent with that. I don't want to see Jaxson Dart because we still have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston here. I do want to mention that Russell Wilson, I don't know about Jameis Winston. No, I always say Jaxson Dart has been outperforming Jameis. But Russell Wilson has been outperforming Jaxson Dart the entire time at camp. Yeah, there were some days where Jaxson Dart goes off, but Russell Wilson has been keeping up with the performance and working with the first team and working against the first team defense. Russell Wilson has been outperforming Jaxson Dart in camp. There's just no doubt about it. I don't think anybody denies that. I don't know what it is about mainstream media. I think listen, I know exactly what it is, actually. They just want to have something to talk about. It's boring talking about Russell. They want to talk about the new, fresh toy. The guy that just came right out the box, the new edition quarterback. They want to have something to talk about. They don't know what they have in him yet. So they want him to start because they either want to praise him or they want to throw him down, and the moment he struggles, these guys are going to be the first one to go out and say, Brian Daboll needs to be fired. How would they start him when they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston? They have a backup plan for the backup plan, but then you still go with the young rookie who is going to go through his growing pains and rookie mistakes, and when those happen, they're going to say, why isn't Russell Wilson on the field? These are the exact same people who are going to go on national TV and tell you that straight to your face when in the offseason they were preaching for these guys to start. Okay, so same thing with Chase Daniel. He was going out there saying Jaxson Dart is not ready, Jaxson Dart should not play, and the Giants are not going to have the best chance of winning with Jaxson Dart. And then a couple of literally weeks later, the guy came out and said that Jaxson Dart needs to start day one and this needs to happen and Brian Daboll wants to keep his job. Just completely contradicting himself.
I certainly could be wrong, been wrong before. But my take was watching him, I was like, he played against backups. He also played with backups. Watching him, my take is, Lane, 3 years, SEC, he plays with a ton. He's like Shador. He plays with a ton of confidence. He was very comfortable.
That's one thing I will definitely say. I loved how Jaxson Dart looked so poised and confident back there behind the offensive line against the Buffalo Bills. Like, he did not, I know a lot of people say this all the time, so forgive me, but he did not look like a rookie out there. I will tell you that. Did he make some rookie mistakes? Absolutely. You'll see a bunch of breakdowns talking about things that he missed. I even did a breakdown myself that said the similar stuff. There are stuff that it seems like he's still learning and needs to develop on. But as far as the mental part of it, as far as being poised and not being flustered, he definitely A+ on that. You could check off that box. I was excited about Jaxson Dart when it came to that. So that's the only good point I'll give Colin Cowherd. But literally he's saying, I'm watching it, and I'm just saying, Lane Kiffin, 3 years. Like, what does that have to do with what you just saw? You're just going back in time and going over his college stats, like in college experience. You knew he had 41 starts. You knew he played in the SEC. You knew he played against the best defenses, and you still called him a second-round pick prior to being drafted. And now he plays one half of a preseason game, and you're saying he needs to start. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. I'm tired of this. This is what you guys listen to on national TV. I'm sorry. This is why you got to stay subscribed to the Kid Blue RB27 channel, because I'm going to tell you how it is. I am as unbiased as you can get when it comes to New York Giants takes and NFL takes. It's just stupid. Just be consistent. Yeah, do I exaggerate things sometimes to get some clickbait? Absolutely. But when you click on the video, you hear my real take. I don't sugarcoat anything. I may title something to get you guys to click on the video, and it works. And you guys still complain in the comments, but you clicked on the video, not my fault. But I still give you exactly how I feel in these videos. I do not sugarcoat anything. Bottom line, I love Jaxson Dart's progression. Let's not screw it up. Let's not rush the process. We have a backup plan for our backup plan, so our backup plan does not need to get in the game. And I love that. I love what the Giants are doing. Let's stick to what their plan is, and let's not jump the gun because we watched him play in one preseason game. For all we know, he has a terrible game against the Jets, and then these guys are back to saying, wow, Jaxson Dart, boy, was I wrong. Man, he just needs to sit a whole year. There's no in-between with them. It's just, completely negative or completely positive. So that being said, I spoke on this a little too long. Now, I didn't expect this to be that much of a longer video. This was only a 2-minute clip. But that being said, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Consider joining the membership for some film studies, film breakdowns, and we will see you guys very, very soon. Woo!